change my name.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Jobity, and I'm the Brilliance Unveil and founder of The Unveil Way and host and creator of Limitless Leaders Summit, designed for powerhouse women ready to break barriers, manifest their dreams, and own their sovereignty. I am thrilled to bring this event to women because I am passionate about women elevating, expanding how they see themselves and the world around them, and evolving so that their old paradigms, patterns, and perspectives that no longer serve them are shed so they can truly shine in their brilliance. Because the truth is, the possibilities are endless when we embody our highest identity and take the reins of our destiny and become the limitless beings we truly are. Our incredible limitless speaker today is Michelle Vanderpas. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
You are so welcome. So here's a little bit more about Michelle. She helps purpose-driven individuals share their message, make an impact, and thrive through her coaching and publishing company. She is the co-founder of Grace Point Publishing and blends decades of experience in publishing coaching to help authors align their purpose and their work. Known as the Book Whisperer, she has guided thousands of thought leaders in sharing their message with the world. As a purpose-driven entrepreneur and a sought-after mentor, Michelle empowers individuals to embrace their truth and boldly express their voice. Our topic today is going to be so cool. It's called Being Both Divine and Dangerous, Leading Yourself and Others. So, Michelle, why don't you let us know what you mean? Like, what's your definition of divine? And then what's your definition of being dangerous first?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a deep topic. Thank you so much. So, we're all divine, and you can call it whatever you want to call it, right? Some people call it God within or God space. You can also use words like intuition, creativity, life force, kundalini. Like there's a lot of different words and metaphors that people like to embrace to make it more personal to them. But it is this God energy, it is this divine energy that flows through us all that makes us human and spiritual at the same time, right? And I know that the more we tap into that, the more we can express ourselves more fully in our purpose and how we're here to give back to the world and humanity. Some people do it through service, some people do it through teaching. There's lots of different ways to do it. But when you're more connected into your own divinity, it is easier to get out of the fear and just know you're here to do something. When you're in that place, it can be seen as dangerous.
Mm,
Get in that place, it can be seen as dangerous to us as women, especially, that we feel like maybe we're not in a safe place anymore, right? We're stepping into that place of unknown where it may not feel like a space where we're comfortable in. Very often, as women, where we're asked to really step into our power in a new place, it can also seem dangerous to other people. Like, oh
mm,
my gosh, here comes this powerhouse. I don't know what to expect. Her energy's gonna blow through. It doesn't have to feel, it's
mm.
not destructive. But when you're first in that place, it can feel both dangerous to you and to other people. And but when we look at people like
Mm.
thought leaders out there who have done this work, they are paving the way for all of us to step up and be in our power. So
Yeah,
the first thing is to get really comfortable with how it might feel dangerous to yourself. That's the first step.
I love that. And I love that use the word dangerous. I guess I would use the word I have different words I use around that whole feeling of this energy, this power, this force that we have in us. And
Yeah.
so, and yes, when we are in, you say, step into our full divinity as beings that have the divine within us, um, we we are limitless in my
Right.
opinion, right? And but that energy vibrates out and people feel it, read it, and some are intimidated, and then it causes our interactions to be, if we're not in our grounded self, interaction we have with others can be so confusing, right?
And to ourselves, right? It can be confusing, like, oh my gosh, I'm being called to go speak to 10,000 people and I don't want to speak. Or, oh my gosh, I'm being called to go intimate inside and go write. And that's not anything I've been called to do before. And it stirs all this stuff up inside of ourselves.
So, Michelle, what made this whole dichotomy of divine and dangerous your thing, your like what like your call right now?
Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of tired about pussyfooting around. It's time for women to step up and be who they're meant to be. And there's never been a more immediate a call to action on the planet than right now. We need
Yes.
all of us. And so I guess for me, it's just about being bold and saying, step into it. And I have used lots of words in the past, like get into your purpose and don't be, be fearless. And I'm just like, it's even more than that. You got to step into your divinity. You got to be dangerous. You got to go do what you need to do, even if it feels dangerous, right? Um, I think about like Mother Teresa.
Mm,
You know, it's really interesting because there's a lot of backstory to her.
mm,
But she basically went to her superiors and said, I don't want to be a teacher anymore. I don't want to be at the school anymore. I want to go to India and serve, right? And serve. She went against her higher ups. That was very not the
yeah,
thing
back
to
then,
do,
yeah.
right? Not the thing to do. And I may have a couple of facts inconsistent here. So if anyone fact checking me, I'm just going with the metaphor of it, right? But she went to her higher ups and had to keep going and saying, no, I want to go to India and administer to the poor. So number one, it was dangerous to go to her higher ups. She had to really tap into what she was called to do and be unwavering in that
Hmm.
energy. Then when she got there, she was in a dangerous space, right? And she was still, no, this is what I'm called to do. This is who I'm called to be. I'm going to really trust. Now, we don't all want to trust putting ourselves in dangerous places, but she had to trust that she was in the right place
Right place for her.
for her at that time, right? And keep stepping into that energy. Now, she died multimillionaire, right?
Did
She
she
had,
really?
yeah,
Because
she,
because there's this perception I feel like of her being poor.
right, right. And there are people out there who say, she shouldn't have had money, right? And so her nonprofit or her foundation had money. I don't know her personally, but
Hmm.
there's money out there for to continue to do the work. But in order to get to that place, she had to step through all of these um, avenues and push back against the establishment and keep going with what she felt like she needed to do. And there's so many examples of that, and many are in my upcoming book. Divine and Dangerous is coming out later
We're
this
gonna
year.
get a little bit more into that, but I want to say
Yeah,
the term that keeps coming up because, and she's from how you shared her story, I think of Mother Teresa in a different way, but your sharing of her story and the metaphor you use, I think of, and it's a word I love. She was the disruptor ahead of her time.
right,
She was disrupting status quo like big time in a way that like it blows your mind to think about it now because as women we still deal with that stuff. But how many years ago when Mother Teresa, I was a child, I think, I don't know, I mean I'm old, but she this was decades ago when she made such a huge impact that we could even say her name right now in this conversation. She is an icon for so many people because of the huge ripple making effect of her following her calling in a very unfamiliar, unknown territory. Like you're saying, the danger that was all inherent in it, but
right,
she kept on.
right. She kept on. She didn't know what her future was going to be. Disruptive is a great word. I use that word as well quite a bit. I love that word. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I get excited by it. I don't even know what that's about, Michelle, but I get so excited when I see women doing those things that for the good, right? Disruptive
Right.
for the good, right?
Right.
Like
For
John
the good.
Lewis said, good trouble, like Right, but making things breaking. That's why part of this headline for this summit is breaking barriers. She
Right.
broke so many barriers. So I just love that you use her as an example. So Michelle, I know from what I've read about you that you are big on legacy too, right? Legacy is a big. So tell us a little more about what legacy means to you and why it's so important that you feel women should be leaving theirs behind.
Yeah, and it's legacy tends to be viewed at as something like when you die, this is what you're leaving behind. But it's really your mark on the world while you're alive as well, I think. It's like, what is the mark you want to leave when you're gone, but what can you be doing right now? Like, don't think about it like when you're 60, 70, 80. Start now, wherever you are, about, and I go back to purpose. What is your purpose? How do you want to be known as leaving a mark on the world? It might be through a book, it might be through summits and podcasts, it might be through coaching, it might be through motherhood, it might be through caring for somebody else, it might be through animals, it could be all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be this big legacy project where you're impacting
Millions.
millions. You might just impact your family in a very intimate way, and that has a ripple effect. So legacy is, how will you be remembered, and are you doing today to set that foundation and build upon that, so that you are making a difference. No one's life is wasted, but I don't want anyone to think back on their life and think I wasted an opportunity, right? So there's that dichotomy, there's that push and pull, because nobody's life is wasted. But we have this internal dialogue that we think we're not doing everything we need to do. We think we're not living our purpose. And so to combat that and is through action. First,
Mm.
knowing that you're worthy on the planet, you're living your purpose, you are divine, you're divinely guided, everything is opening up for you. So you understand that, you live that, you embody that, and then you take action that supports that idea.
I think that's the probably the challenge for a lot of and I speak to women because women are the ones listening here today. Women is that they may have the idea, the dream, the desire, but taking that aligned action might be because of all the narratives and fears in the condition that might stop them from taking that aligned action to start to carve that pathway towards that dream idea vision that they have. And I guess I want everybody listening to what Michelle is saying right now to just understand that we all go through similar things. Everything unfamiliar feels scary, right? But it's
Right.
like trusting it back to Mother Teresa, trusting in the vision, mission, calling of the heart, knowing that that's where you're being guided for a reason, right?
Yeah. And sometimes we think it should be big, and it may be big, but um, I work with all kinds of people, and some people are really clear, I just want to write a book, or I just want to have a podcast and show up and do what I want to do because I love it. And whoever listens or whoever reads, that's enough, right?
Mm,
And if that is your internal feeling, start there. And then once you start there and you take action on that, very often it opens up, wow, I got some great feedback. I'm ready to take the next action. And then that opens up to a bigger energy, which may be more people, or maybe just now moving into um, personal talks, not just podcasting, right? Or it may end up into reaching a bigger audience, but the energy will expand. So sometimes you
yeah.
have to just start with wherever you are and take one action and be okay with whatever that is, and not expect everybody else's expectations are right for you. That, oh my gosh, everyone says I should be reaching millions and I'm reaching 300 people. Well, whatever it is, it's exactly where you are right now.
Yeah, I was just oh, it was Demi Moore's acceptance speech at the Golden Globes this past weekend where she said she was following all the narratives about she wasn't good enough, and she just took that in from when she was a young actress, and just believed she wasn't deserving of awards. And then when she got this her first award, Best Actress, for that movie, she said a quote, and I'm not gonna remember the quote, but the thing she said that I remember, that get rid of the measuring stick.
Right. Right.
That measuring stick that we all have, that I am only this much good as the next person, or I don't, whatever the measuring is.
It's the comparison,
Oh,
right? It's that comparison. And I think younger people in their 20s now, may be better at that. Maybe, like, they have more options, they have um, lots of places to go online and offline. But those of us who are a little bit older, I think we're still in that comparison.
I don't know about the younger people, because I feel like their lives are very different from our
Yeah,
lives,
yeah,
but I think they still struggle with the mindset stuff
yeah.
in just different
Everybody
ways.
does,
Yeah, it's just a
probably. Yeah,
different way.
yeah.
I want to get into, Michelle, back to your words, danger and divine. Like, so why does embracing danger become your greatest ally?
Yeah, it does. I think and it's really part of the fear. When it feels dangerous, it feels fearful. It's usually because we just don't have either enough experience or enough information or enough validation that where we're going is going to be safe,
Right.
right? So the first thing we have to do is acknowledge it. This feels really dangerous. Number two, ask ourselves, do I need more information? Right? Let's just take something really third dimensional, concrete. I'm going to go buy a house and it feels really scary. Maybe you just need more information. Can I afford it? Do I have a budget? Is there a mortgage available? Is this the right neighborhood? Will this house work for, maybe it's just
Hmm.
more information. And when you start getting that information around your budget and your payments and all that, then you have the fear goes away because you have the knowledge, right? So sometimes when it feels really dangerous, it's just because we don't have the right questions answered. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, are we trying to take such a big leap
Mm.
that our nervous system does not feel safe? So the second step is to do some embodiment work, take deep breaths, ask ourselves if we're safe. There's so many tools out there right now, right? I'm not an expert in the tools. I have things that I use, but there's so much out there.
Yeah.
And you have to tell your body, your physical body, that it is safe.
That's a big one, and it's a real one.
And often we misinterpret the fear of not being safe, that our body's not safe, maybe because of triggers or things that have happened or imagined things, right? Or adrenaline or whatever it is, when in fact it is safe for us to do. And we just have to calm our nervous system down,
Yeah.
get our information in our head, and align those two things so that we can take that dangerous step, what feels dangerous.
I like that. And I will just say one more thing, because the thing I am leaning more into as I grow older and wiser, because I'm very logical, practical, linear, those are my masculine energies are very strong. But what I'm learning is that sometimes the fear is because my logical, practical, rational mind cannot make sense of the thing, like say the vision or the idea or the circumstances. And no matter how much I try to figure it out, I can't. And so there's uncertainty of, no matter how brilliant my brain might be, there are things in life that we just can't logically explain, or right. So I
Right,
think
right.
so I
Yeah,
think for some of us, it's for me, it's like, if I have the knowledge and the logic makes sense, oh, it's easy. When I have the knowledge, but it don't make sense, and but this is the thing I have to do to get from A to B or A to Z, that's when the faith can really be like, oh my God. But that's when my faith has to be brought to front to give me the momentum to move forward. So I don't know if that ties back into your divine part, Michelle.
Yeah. And I want to talk about timing and procrastination because I think this goes along with the fear and what you're talking about. Sometimes we get an inspiration, a download, a directive, and we think we're supposed to act on it right now. Especially those of us who are very logical and action oriented. It's like, I got this idea, this inspiration. I know it's mine. I
Yeah.
know I get it. I know it's mine to do. And then we go do some things and nothing happens. And it feels like it's a dead end, or
Yeah.
it feels like it's not going the way we expect. So there is a point when sometimes it's just not divine timing. And I did my TEDx talk on this. Is
I
it
saw that. Yeah.
or procrastination? I mean, is it percolation, fear, or procrastination? And sometimes we just need to percolate on it. Sometimes we just need the creative process to continue. So you get a divine inspiration to write a book. Does that mean you start sitting down tomorrow and write the book? Maybe for some people, and for other people, maybe they need to meditate on it, walk on it, live their lives on it, think about it for a week, a month, a year, right? Before they actually
Mhm.
start writing. And part of that is what's going on internally and what's going on externally as well for that divine timing to happen, right?
I love that.
And as logical, action-oriented women like you and I are, that's a hard place to
Yes.
be.
It's so funny, but you shared that because I was on LinkedIn earlier and somebody shared a testimony of they had an idea to write this book. They've written books before, but they had an idea to write a fiction book, not a nonfiction book, and they're not a fiction author. So they're doing all this courses and things, and they even hired a coach, but they kept getting stuck with this particular idea, and then they put it aside, wrote another book, another nonfiction book. Anyway, long story short is that when the time was right, the divine time, it just flowed out of them. Whatever, this new, entirely new book, and it's gonna be coming out this year. And they were like, all of December, they were just writing, and it just was. So it's like this idea of this notion of, and you're so right, Michelle. Like I'm a high achieving, that type A type personality. I have an idea. I'm like, okay, we got it, and
Right,
I'm gonna start doing the thing because I'm like, okay, it's clear, but oh
right.
my God, the timing, and I think it's a lesson I'm still learning, Michelle, of, okay, Natalie, is this the time though? It's a good idea, you can do it, but is this the right time? Is God saying that now you're supposed to act, right? So with that story, a testimony I read earlier from that person, it's like, oh my God. And it took them, I think it was a few years before the real thing, the timing was for right for that particular vision. And it just flowed out of them. And I know it's going to be an amazing book.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes we need to go into the void, just a space of just what is. Sometimes we need to go work on a different project, like what you're talking about, the other book, and just keep it. Something that I found that really helps with this process is you keep a long to-do list or a
Mm,
long note list. I keep mine online, but I used to keep mine. I also have notepads. I do both. And every time you get an idea, you actually write it down because it gets it out of your head. Otherwise, your subconscious is certain. Why am I not working on this? Why am I not? I have this idea. You just write it down in either a sentence or a paragraph,
yeah.
and it gives your brain a place to rest. And
Yes.
okay, it's here, it's on my to-do list. It may not pop up to the top of my list right away, but it's there for when I'm ready.
Yeah, this is really, I hope the women listening are hearing this because I know it's like, there are a lot of type A's out here. We're a lot of us out here and high achieving and, and I'm learning more about too the energies of feminine and masculine as well, and how we need to like amplify our feminine energies more, which is part of the reason I'm having this summit with these topics. Anyway, so let's not go there yet. But yeah, like that we sometimes it's not about quick action, but it's about okay, I've heard it, I've listened, I've written it down, and then that might be my call, but this might not be the right time. So I will let it go for now. But I know when the right time comes, I can bring that and execute it in a like fast forward, like accelerated way that if I
Right,
try to do it now, it wouldn't even work that way, right?
right, right,
Oh my
right.
gosh. So,
Absolutely.
so we on the topic of purpose, and you use, one of my, the brilliance unveiler, the unveil word is a big word to me. So, Michelle, how would you say we unveil our true purpose? Like whatever, like you said in the beginning, you're talking about like it could be something small or something big or impactful. It could be the Mother Teresa level kind of thing. But like as women who may not be clear of what our assignment is, our divine assignment, how do we become clear about that?
Yeah. So I strongly believe that purpose is not our job and it's not a doing, it's a being. And so the first thing to look at is purpose is a verb. It could be caretaking, teaching, it could be storytelling, sharing, networking. Like it's a verb, right? Let's pretend you're a caretaker. That's an archetype everybody understands, right? You could go into martyrdom with it and like suddenly be caretaking everybody and get really out of balance. Or you can be in balance with it and choose a profession that might be nursing or hospice care or nannying or volunteering to walk dogs or whatever. There's a million ways to be a caretaker in a balanced way.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a profession as a nurse and you might be a scientist and not a caretaker. You may have the training to be a nurse, but you're coming at it from a totally different perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
just because people have said, oh, you'd make a great nurse or whatever, look at the verb and the energy underneath why people are telling you that, why
Mm.
you originally got into nursing. Is it because you like the science? Is it because you like the caretaking? Is it because something else? You want a hospital environment or you want a bedside environment, right? And so when we look at our professions, we tend to think that's our purpose. But actually, it's the verb underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So when I keep looking at it for me, for instance, I have always inspired other people to do bigger and better things, better, it's not a word, bigger things with their life, more aligned things with their life, step into I've always done that. Right now, I do that through publishing. I do that through public speaking. I do that through things like this right here, what we're
Yes.
doing. 20 years ago, I did that, but I did that one on one with coaching. And I did that one on one going into small businesses and helping them market their business. But it was the same energy.
I got you.
But
Yeah.
the profession has changed slightly. And the
That's
way I execute it has changed slightly as I step into it in a more fully way, in a more nice
embodied, would you
embodied
say?
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Gosh, I love this because I think it's so true of like for me, so I wear a lot of hats too, but I guess I've always been similarly like helping people see their potential. I mean, that sounds so basic, but like when I was in a work environment, I was mentoring and training younger staff and other staff, and I became a team leader and a da da da. I was always like the championer and the let's do
Right,
this, right? So the energy, even though I was market research, a whole different career, job, whatever, I was doing that within my role, even with my clients. Anyway, so there's that, and then I moved into image consulting, whole different feel, but that's where the light became very clear to me that I love. I don't want to use the word empower. I don't like that word anymore, but I love building people up, women
right,
especially, to see how great they are. And this was back then it was by their image and their appearance and their expression, and now it's all of the above, right? Like now I'm an executive coach, I'm a brilliance unveiler, so it's like and a writer and a speaker, right? But all of it is tied into my passion for elevation, uplifting, right? So
right,
the energy
right.
is the same energy.
The same energy, right? And so what I ask people to do whenever we work together, we start with what's the energy of your purpose? What's underneath that? Now, you can be passionate about image consulting. You can be passionate about market research. You can be passionate about being an executive coach, right? But those are passions that you choose in the moment to help you
That's
express
it.
your purpose. So I ballroom dance. Sometimes it's a passion. Sometimes it's just something I do. It depends on the energy and the day, right? But it is part of the expression of who I am. Doesn't mean I have
Ah,
to go be a professional ballroom dancer.
right.
Doesn't mean I have to go make money at it. Doesn't mean anything.
The expression of who you are, that phrasing, because what if, and we don't know this is fact, but what if for Michelle, you going out and doing that for fun is the way that ignites your creativity?
Absolutely. Right, absolutely, and it's a way to get me out of my head, and it's a way to
Yeah.
get me more in my body, right? That's
Yes.
just one thing I do. I've also painted, I write sometimes. Like, there's lots of things. We all should have hobbies and expressions to explore, and those do not have to be the same decade after decade.
That's so this this is I mean, I love this. So the expressions of ourselves and the fact that the expressions of ourselves evolve over time. So
And
what Michelle
painting,
did 20 years ago that made her feel lit up is not this necessarily the same thing Michelle's doing now to get
and
herself.
I may come back to it. It's a choice. If I paint or not paint, it's a choice. Now, some people, it may not feel like a choice. Like, they have to paint, they have to express
Mm.
themselves that way, right? So there are people who are like writers and they have to sit down and write every day.
The funny thing is writing is actually one of the gifts I've had from since I can remember. I was journaling as a child and writing, I mean, not writing, but like writing stuff and had so many journals and diaries as they called them back then. So writing is one of my outlets, I would say. And even now, like I've written 2 books, but I know I could have written like 5 more, but it's like, what's the point? You gotta do all this work and then market it out, whatever. But I know for me, I would always writing would always be a way of expressing my thoughts and feelings. That won't go away.
Right.
So now I do it like I post on LinkedIn, I might put a thought, or my newsletter, whatever. Like that's how my writing flows out of me now, or in my gratitude journal. But it's like I'm writing is a way for me to be like, oh, this is what I really think.
It helps, right? Totally. So in publishing, I talk about this a lot with our authors. Writing your book is one of the biggest self-development exercises you will ever go through because it forces you to explain what you really think. And you may not know what you really think until you're forced to explain it. Yeah.
But here's what I want to say, and it's back to what you just said, which is interesting because I'm growing into this now. So I said that it's still true. Writing is my foundation. It's a go-to. It's so innate in me. But what God has shown me again, even though He showed me before, is speaking is an actual expression that. But it's interesting, Michelle, because even me doing these summits, like I did one in the fall. I enjoyed all my interviews. I enjoyed it so much. I'm like, wow, I knew I would, but I'm like, Natalie, speaking is a gift, but it's not as comfortable to me as writing. Even though I've done a lot of great things this year too in the speaking realm of things, it's just interesting how it seems like speaking now is my expression, but as a part of me is still like, "Hmm?" Like
But, and you're growing into it. And a year from now, you may have a different perspective on this. There's something, so here's something: when you're called to do something and you're really called to do it, you step into it, even if it feels dangerous, fearful, not 100% aligned yet,
yes.
still step into it. There are plenty of things people have suggested to me that I'm just like, nah, that's not mine to do. Just not, right?
Even though
But
you
then
could do it.
I could do it. I could learn to do it. But there's other things that are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. And I get I'm supposed to. I get that I'm supposed to step
Exactly.
into it. And that's when, even if it doesn't feel aligned yet, it's aligned up here. It's aligned out there in the divinity world, right? In the soul world. And
Yeah.
so step in, and maybe that's where speaking is for you. Well, you were called. It wasn't quite aligned yet, but you knew it was going to be. And now it feels totally
Yeah.
to me.
That's it. That's it, Michelle.
Yeah.
I wanna go to your book real quick because I kind of feel like your new book coming up. So let's tell us a little bit more about that and how it ties into what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, so I've got a book coming out in October called Divine and Dangerous, and Living Your Most Authentic Purpose and Truth in the World. And I'm publishing it, going through national distribution, be available at bookstores and everything everywhere. I've got a quiz that I developed that is like, how are you divine and dangerous? What's your divine and dangerous archetype, which is kind of cool. And so I think you're going to have the link for that
The
one.
free gift.
It's
Yep.
a
Yep.
free gift when this goes live. So super cool. And the book should be available everywhere books are sold when this interview goes live.
And the soul and heart of that book, what would you say it is?
I'm asking people to step into the place that feels most dangerous to them, because that's probably the place that you're going to grow the most and make the biggest impact in the world. And it is a divine place to be in, to be led and lead yourself and lead others.
There we have it. I mean, I don't feel like we're finished, but I'm like, you just said that your topic title right there in one sentence, really, right? To lead yourself and lead others by being both divine and dangerous. Um, I have a fire round that I forgot to tell you about before we start, but before we get there, anything else you want to share with our listeners before I give you the fire round questions?
Just that if you're feeling it inside, it's yours to do. And just start journaling, thinking, talking, meditating, walking, whatever you can do to embody it more so you feel safe. Like if you're getting a call to write a book, start writing the book. Like don't put it off. If you get a call to travel, if you get a call to just, cozy and stay home for a week and meditate or be creative, like we ignore our nudges.
The nudges, those intuitive hits that we don't
Right.
even know are intuitive hits.
Yeah. And so I'm just asking everyone to step into those nudges and take small or big aligned actions.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, Michelle. So I have 7 questions, but they're hopefully fun and easy. I forgot to prepare you for that. So the first one is, do you have a word or theme of the year? And if so, what is it?
Yeah. This is going to sound kind of crazy based on what we talked about, but this year for me, it's simplify.
Wow.
Um, because I have so many irons in the fire and so many things going on, both in my two businesses and my family and, all of it and traveling and everything, that I feel the more I can simplify, the more I can step into those places that feel really fearful and I'm not distracting myself because I'm modeling what I'm teaching and I'm ready to go to my next level too.
Love that. Love it. Love it. Love it. And wishing you to simplify to the nth degree so you can do all
Thank
that.
you.
Okay. What's one limit you once believed in that you've now shattered?
I'm in the process of shattering that I'm not capable or worthy to speak to 10,000 people on stage.
You've
I
done a TEDx talk, lady.
I know. And I've spoken to hundreds of people and probably even 1,000 people on stage, but not huge audiences live, right? I'm in the process of shattering that. I'm also in the process of shattering that I'm not a ballroom dancer. That's hard because you have to be real kind of expressive, right?
Yeah.
You don't,
Yeah.
so I'm shattering that.
Okay, she's still shattering, but she just, yes, you see, we can all be in the process of shattering the limits.
Yeah.
Okay, what 1 to 3 words, sorry, describe your leadership presence?
Empathetic, focused, and purpose driven.
Yeah, purpose driven is, yeah, yeah, yeah. What's a favorite song or quote that you'd like to share that has been instrumental in your life?
Well, probably one of my favorite songs is Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh,
I just love that. It's an old song and I love that and I listen to it all the time. Just there's something about that. Like, yeah, let's go together. Let's like break barriers and go together.
that's like the theme for the summit, like break the barriers and fly like the limitless
Yeah.
beings we are, right? Okay, I love that. Speaking of, who do you see as a limitless leader in the public eye from past, present, or future? You mentioned Mother Teresa. I don't know if that would be your.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to get political, but I sure love Michelle Obama.
Oh, no, it's not. I don't think it's political because she's not, well, yeah, she's not the first lady anymore, but yeah.
Everything about her feels
Mm,
grounded,
mm,
and she just moves through whatever gets thrown her way with grace and clarity of thought.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
An
like her.
excellent communicator.
Excellent communicator. I like her a lot.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I mean, I just got goosebumps. I'm not sure why, but I can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, two more questions. If you could gift every woman one belief about herself, what would it be?
That you are worthy of whatever nudge has hit your heart.
All right. And finally, what's a practice you do often that helps you embody your limitlessness?
Yeah, walking. I'm a walker. I don't
Same.
walk as much in the winter as I would like. I used to be okay with the cold. It's weird as I
I
get,
can relate because I'm like, it's been almost like 4 days and I have not even, I know it's still cold. So yeah.
I tend to usually walk at least 3 miles a day or more, and I just
Wow.
haven't for the last month, and I feel it. I feel like I gotta get out there. I gotta
I
move some
know.
energy. Yeah,
I actually love to walk too. I love to be out and to walk outdoors in nature. Like that really is one of my things. And
mine
when it's
too.
winter, like the wind has been crazy, right? So the cold wind and it's just I'm feeling like I'm like, how do I now get the same energy when I can't go out there and do that? Because I can't just wait to.
I used to bundle up, and I look at myself now, and I'm like, why don't I just bundle up and put on my hats and gloves and
I
go?
don't know. I feel like I bundle up, but then the wind is still like my eyes are tearing. I
I
don't know.
know it's not the same. So I'm solving it by going to somewhere warm next weekend.
I like that. Michelle, it's been a pleasure. So Michelle's free gift is her quiz, Divine and Dangerous.
Yeah,
Um, and her book is coming out in October, so y'all want to be paying attention to that. You
it
have
should be available for pre-sale when you're watching this. Yeah,
okay, awesome in March. Okay,
yeah,
in March.
yeah.
Oh wow, okay, awesome, awesome. So say the book title again.
Divine and dangerous.
All right. Around this time when we're airing this summit, you will be seeing that book on everywhere. Go check it out. It sounds like the book that might change your life. Michelle, thank you for your thought leadership, your authenticity, your all your wisdom and everything inspiration. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to connect more with you. This has been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.